Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. The sad reality of our world today is that we have a lot of adults that don't use reason, rationale, or even common sense because common sense is, well, not that common anymore. And they try and, well, obviously there are a lot of them are indeed radicalized to the point where they believe that a child happens to be trans. And as we know, those of us that live in reality and use sanity on a daily basis, there is no such thing as a trans child. Nobody can show me otherwise because the evidence that we have proves that there is no such thing as a trans child. Just look at the WPATH files and the CAS review or the CAS report. Just goes to show you. And we're going to dumb it down for each and every one of you. Those two reports prove there's no such thing as a trans child. But alas, you have adults out there and parents. I won't call them a mother or a father because they don't deserve to be called that if they try and medically transition their own child, let's say, which is what we're going to be talking about today. A mother of sorts, I guess, a abusive mother, has decided to trans her own child. This parent, this woman, who I believe should be in prison for doing such a thing to her child. So my son, I'm not sure if it was a daughter that she's claiming is her son. I'm not sure of the entire situation because it can get rather confusing these days when people don't actually use the correct grammar or use real facts, the actual biology of things. My son got, I'm just going to read it as it is, his second blocker yesterday. Yay. By the way, this is from Parents of Transgender Children, which is, I believe, a group somewhere on Facebook. There seems to be a lot of those groups, and I don't want to be anywhere near them, but you have a lot of these stories that are coming out, and they're horrific. I cannot believe that there are people out there that do this to young kids. I really can't. I have a hard time believing it, but the fact is there are parents that, oh, yes, people out there that have kids that do this. It was going great until a doctor came in to perform the procedure. The doctor was amazing, by the way. If a doctor is willing to do this, give puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones to an innocent child that doesn't know any better, then they're not amazing. They should be in prison along with the parents that is trying to make this happen because the doctor should know better. The doctor has taken a Hippocratic oath to do no harm. The doctor somehow thinks that they are doing the right thing in this instance, but they're not. No doctor that tries to do any of this is on the right side of history. Let me just say that. My son freaked out after the numbing cream, and after the numbing medicine was put in with the needle, he got so scared he refused to have the procedure. I would too, honestly, not just for the fact that you may be scared of needles, but the child is having an actual reaction to what's going on and what's about to take place. Obviously, the child doesn't want this to happen. But no, we're going to make it happen. We're going to force this on a child. Because God forbid if the child says no, we can't have that. But if the child says to me one day, oh, mummy or daddy, I think that I am the opposite sex. Sure, that is exactly right, Timmy or Mary. We're going to start the process of transitioning you because that's for your benefit, that's for your welfare. But the moment the child says no, the parent goes, hang on a minute. You wanted this. You're going to have it. We're not going to stop it. You're going to have it. So it's only good if the child says, I want it. But if the child says they don't want it, nah, it's not good enough. We're going to give it to you anyway. What the hell are we doing? He got so scared, he refused to have the procedure. Luckily, not luckily, the Children's Hospital provided a child specialist to stay with us during the whole procedure. So the child apparently can consent to having the procedure, but he can't consent to not having the procedure? That's interesting, isn't it? Her job was to calm him and distract him. I mean, that child specialist should know better. That child specialist should know that the child is having a natural reaction to something the child doesn't actually want to have done. I believe it's her, because the mother, transgender, say it to her, right? She's not liking it. She's upset. But the mother doesn't care. The mother wants her child to have this done. And the child specialist is trying to calm her down and distract her while the doctors brutalize her. Great parenting and great medicine all in practice right there. How about that? It took over an hour of negotiation. What are you negotiating exactly? An hour. That's a long time of negotiating. What are you saying to that child? What are you negotiating exactly? And let me just say this. You should not be negotiating with a child in regards to their irreversible damage that you're about to do to them. You shouldn't be saying to them, oh, if you get it done. No. The child doesn't want it to happen. So therefore, you stop. You should know better. You're the adult. Well, you're supposed to be. And same with the doctor. The doctors should know better as well. But clearly they don't. Clearly they want this to happen. Clearly they want to abuse the child. It's evident. And they've got to negotiate in order to do it with a child. She let the doctor continue after an hour of negotiation. You literally bribed the child with money. You bribed the child with money. You're putting that child's life on the line and saying, you need to have this done. And if you don't have it done, or I'm going to give you money if you have this done. I'm going to give you an incentive. It was the most stressful hour. Oh, you poor thing. The most stressful hour for you as the parents. You should know that the moment that child said, nah, this is not going to happen, you stop. Or even before then, even before you got to this place, you should have stopped it altogether. I was so scared she wasn't going to go through with it. Why? Why were you scared exactly? What are your reasons for being scared? That she wasn't going to go through with it? That she's going to grow up to be a healthy, normal, functioning child if she doesn't go through with it? Is that what you're scared about? Gee. And I just kept thinking of the consequences if she didn't. What consequences? Exactly. Please elaborate. What are the consequences going to be if your child doesn't go through with irreversible harm and irreversible damage? The medicine cost $43,000 plus the cost of the insertion packet. It's a great deal of money. But no, the parent obviously knows best, right? Clearly, parent knows nothing. The medicine only lasts a few days. $43,000 for a medicine that lasts a few days, and you got to do it again. One's prepared to insert. So coming back to put him to sleep for the procedure would be unlikely. You want to put your own child to sleep so that you can put an irreversible drug in the child's system. So that child is going to be destroyed for the rest of their life. Is that what you want to do? You are trying to trans your kid. That's the whole thing about this. Not sure the insurance would approve it again. I was so proud of her that she went through with it. and cannot believe how brave she is. The whole way home, she was crying because he was releasing his stress. No, no, no. She's crying because of what you did to her. She didn't want this to take place, and yet you forced it on her. Of course, she's stressed. She's scared. She's had an irreversible drug put into her body by force. I would be scared and I would be crying as well if that happened to me. Some parent you are. She kept saying how it's not fair that she has to do this. And then the parent goes, and he's right, it's not. I really can't explain to my friends that don't have a trans child and it ends. I'm sure it goes on further. But the child goes, it's not fair that she has to do this. And then the parent agrees. Well, if you agree that it's not fair, why do it? Eh? Why do it to an innocent child, for goodness sake? A couple of people in the comment section go, this is child abuse. The child obviously did not want to go through with it, but because of money and clout, was forced to. Child cannot consent to puberty blockers or cross-sex hormones or surgery or anything like this. Another person goes, prison time. When the child said no, that should have ended it. Should have ended it well before then. The mother obviously, or the parent obviously has Munchausen's by proxy. Munchausen's, sorry, by proxy. It's more important to her. She goes through with it. Or she goes through with this. What an awful thing to read. Another person goes, child abuse. There is no such thing as a trans child. Indeed. Again, parents who project and force their mindset on their own child to pander to a false narrative. This should be punishable by law. If the child rejects, this is clearly child abuse and needs to be treated as a felony, as it is not needed healthcare, but a elective procedure. Why are we doing this to young kids? When are we going to learn our lesson now? Should not be doing any of this to poor, innocent kids. I believe I've actually read that before, but I wanted to make another video about it. I think it was one of the first videos that I did a while ago now, but it still holds true. It's the people out there that are doing just this. Look at Jazz Jennings, prime example. There's so many people out there that are forcing this onto a young kid that should not be, because it's damaging them. It's harming them. It's irreversible. Can't go back. Can't change it. It's sick. It's twisted. It's from the pit of hell, if you ask me. Anyway, my friends, thank you all so much for watching. You take care. You're blessed. And I'll see you all in the next video.